the system is unavailable.
By now, you've probably seen news stories showing a reporter trying and failing to get onto healthcare.gov. It's like a whole new genre of TV news spawned on October 1st. While these stories have helped illustrate the genuinely troubled Obamacare rollout, they also have a big limitation, which is that television reporters who already have benefits aren't the people who actually need the healthcare exchanges.
Elizabeth, it turns out it's not about you, is it?
No, it's not about me. Now, I've been doing this just as a journalistic endeavor, but many other people, they really need health care insurance, and they say that they're really frustrated that this isn't working for them.
Indeed, what will ultimately make or break Obamacare is whether the people who actually need affordable, decent healthcare coverage can get it. Step one is getting through the website. Today we found a really interesting testimonial from one of the people who managed to do so in a surprising place, the website of Fox News. That's where Sally Cohn wrote about her difficult but ultimately successful effort to sign up on the healthcare exchange in New York and the much better deal she will get as a result. Sally's story did not escape the attention of President Obama's Twitter account, which last night tweeted out her story, complete with Fox News link. And Sally Cohn joins me now. It's great to have you here. Okay, tell me about the circumstances in which you, not as a reporter, not as a commentator, as someone who actually needs healthcare, is in the individual marketplace, went to the exchange to go get it.
Crazy that. And you know, there are a couple things that people should know about my stories.
Right.
First of all, I'm in New York. I had the privilege of being in a state where our state government has not tried to sabotage the implementation of Obamacare or handed it off to the federal government. We have an effective and self-interested government that wants it to work here. And also, New York has historically had the highest individual insurance market premiums in the country. So there was a lot at stake here. And my insurance, to put it briefly, is really crummy right now. I mean, it's really crummy. A year ago, I was paying $1,600 for me, my partner, and my kid. Then, because it was such bad insurance anyway, I had a $3,000 deductible. The out-of-pockets were, I think, in the neighborhood of $10,000. I lowered down to sort of a bronze level, if you will.
Okay.
And was paying $965 a month.
$965 a month, which is a lot of money. Out of pocket,
a lot of money,
individual market.
with a $7,000 deductible and $36,000 out-of-pocket max for the year. Plus, by the way, a $2 million
lifetime
annual cap. Annual cap, which, by the way, let's first note,
so if
is
you
now
and your
illegal
partner, exactly, is illegal under the Affordable Care Act. That $2 million annual cap, if you got really sick and your partner got really sick, you can blow through.
$2 million, come on.
All right, so your experience, you go on, what happens?
So, I mean, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It took me a while, right? And, I mean, it took me a good week of
it wasn't like, they weren't making up that the website didn't work.
No, the website stinks, and it's an abomination. And, you know, look, it took a while to get Amazon.com working, too, and this is complicated, and I get that. And certainly the federal exchange, which has sort of had all these responsibilities offloaded onto it, you know, that's a big effort. But, yeah, I mean, there was actually a point at which I shook my computer out of frustration. It was just not working over and over again.
But you finally did get through after about a week.
Took me about a week, and finally it was sort of early morning on a weekend, because my kid, like your kid, is awake at, 7 in the morning on a weekend, so I thought I'd try it. And finally I was able, I mean, I'd gotten through pieces of the process throughout the week, right? Finally I was able to actually get through, sign up, look at all of my plans. And there were 50 plans that were more affordable than my current insurance. Now, let me be clear. I already had one of the more affordable individual insurance policies in New York. I already had what was considered at the time a good deal. And now there were 50 better options? Like, is it Christmas? I mean, that's kind of awesome.
Okay, right? So we have a little full screen of what the sort of the new insurance looks like, the sort of statistics or the savings at least. You're saving. You have a much lower deductible. You have a lower out-of-pocket max, right? You're saving money.
Win-win-win.
Yeah.
And like I said, I could have picked 50. A lot of people look at that and they'll say, you still have a $2,000 deductible.
Right.
You're paying $931 a month. I could have picked a lower plan with a slightly higher deductible. I could have, either way, it still would have been a lower deductible than my current deductible. So either way I picked, I won.
And the other thing I think that was interesting about the piece was that you made the point, and it's funny, I was tooling around on one of the private, on Oscar, which is this new website startup, I should disclose or say my brother now works there, but I was tooling around looking at their comparison plans, and the one thing I thought was like, oh, this would take a while. Like, I'm not used to the enterprise of doing this kind of comparison shopping.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. So first of all, it took a really long time in the first place when I had to pick. It took me, on and off about 5 days, because there was no one place you could go. There were sort sort of brokered sites.
Oh, you're saying before Obamacare, right?
Before Obamacare was a mess. I had to go in private insurance company by private insurance company, compare apples and oranges. It took a very long time. So even with the website glitches, it took me about 4 hours total to save, over $5,000. Right. I mean, come on, that's good money. But yeah, the actual picking between 50 different insurance plans, part of the reason people aren't signing up yet is because the websites are glitchy. Part of the reason people aren't signing up yet is A, the deadline hasn't come up yet, and B, it takes a while to figure this stuff out.
It's not a novelty purchase by the cash register that you grab on your way out.
Not picking out a hamburger. You're not like, oh, would I like cheese?
Right.
No, it's not that simple.
I want to play this. Josh Green, who does these great video blogs with his brother, which people should check out. He did this experiment when he applied for Obamacare, and he also applied just through a private health insurance website. Take a look.
Even with all the server errors, it was more than twice as fast to apply under the Affordable Care Act private exchanges than it was to apply in the old way. And it's also much less confusing and intrusive. Like in the old way, I had to list every single time I went to the doctor, and in the new way, they didn't ask me anything except whether I smoked. And as far as I can tell, it has gotten dramatically better, even though the government could stand to buy some new servers.
He made this great point, and it reminded me when I was in the individual market, when I was a freelancer living in Chicago, when I did not have an employer, which is that you have to answer so many questions under the old unregulated regime because they are trying to weed out bad risks. So it's have you ever talked about surgery? How much are you drinking? And now you have this standardized way in.
I mean, I literally spent more time hitting the refresh button and waiting for the server to kick in than I spent answering questions. It just was that simple.
Columnist Sally Cohn, thank you so much. Great to have you here.
Glad to be here.